Good morning. Welcome back to Morning at 10 TV. I am Malaki Vilodera. Of course, today the big conversation is on HIV and AIDS, people living amongst us that we don't know about. But of course, Andrew Chamagero was on ground having a discussion on why we still have this stigma around this special people who are around us. And in Uganda, just so you know, Uganda has lost close to 2 million people to the HIV endemic, and currently about 1.4 people are living with HIV and AIDS, and this is according to the Uganda AIDS Commission. Now, just for you to know, every single day we have 227 new infections happening. Yes, 227 new infections happening. That amounts to around 9 infections every hour. But of course, there are groups of people who have come out to just have this conversation and to support this special group of people. And we have the Ugandan network of young people living with HIV and AIDS who are at the forefront of supporting the young people, because this endemic is not discriminatory. It does not discriminate, on race, age, whatever boundaries or kind of descriptions. So in studios today I have a group of actually 2 beautiful ladies. I have Nakata Martha Clara, who is a former Miss Y. Yes?
Yeah.
2016, 2017?
2016.
Miss Y plus, yes. Courtesy of the actually said UNYPA, right?
Yeah.
I also have Cynthia Chofuna, who is the PR and communication from UNYPA. Thank you so much for making time.
Thank you for inviting
I
us.
think people want to know your story, Nakato. You are all dressed up. Of course, you're a former beauty queen and a UNYPA. Tell us about your story. People are curious. They want to know, how is your story, just in a nutshell? How did you find yourself in this space?
Okay, so I'm Martha Clara Nakata, a young woman living happily and healthily with HIV, just the way you can see me. I'm 22 years old and a student. I got to know my status when I was only 14 years. So in a family of 8, I am the last born and the twin, and I'm the only one born with HIV.
You're the only one?
Yeah.
And you're a twin?
And I'm a twin.
So your twin is negative?
All my other family members are negative and my twins. So it's only me who is positive. Yeah.
Okay, what happened? How did you turn positive? Because I'm sure people are wondering, you have a twin, your twin is negative, you are positive.
Okay, I was born with HIV, raised by a single dad who actually didn't disclose at the early age. So I got to find out I was born with HIV when I was actually 14 years. That is when I got to find out, and it was really tough for me. But then in the long run, I got to realize that, oh, maybe I was born for purpose. There is a reason why I was born with HIV.
Right.
Yes, I had to look through and find out the reason. And getting to find the reason is why you see I'm dressed up this way as a miss, ready to fight the stigma, ready to empower other young people by sharing my story, but then bring back hope to many who have really lost the hope and have really given up on life. Yeah.
So how did you come to realize? You said that until 14 years of age, that's when you realized that I'm the only one in this family that is living with HIV and AIDS. You're actually born like that.
Yeah.
So how was it for you? How did you come to find out? Is it that you fell sick, you were taken to hospital, and then you're told that it's this way?
Okay. So at 14 years, my twin brother walks to me and he tells me he had gone astray. He had engaged himself into sexual activities and he was scared. He wanted to test because, to us, the norm, we grew up in boarding schools, and before you report back to school, it was culture that had to take us to the hospital. We had a family doctor. That was it. So around the time when we went to test, it was our first time to take ourselves to the health center. So my brother tested and I was happy for him that he was negative. Then I also took up the test, and to my surprise...
So you just wanted, because I want to support my brother, so you're like, let's do it together.
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, to me, it was fun seeing how they were piercing him, and I also wanted to feel how it feels like, in a joking way.
Yes.
So
of course, at 14.
Yeah, I didn't even expect the results. But then when it came to me and then they told me, you know what? We found out you're diagnosed with HIV. I was like, no, these are not my results. These are his results. Hey, I'm still a virgin. I don't have a boyfriend. There is nothing like that. Why would you tell me this? So to me, it was really surprising. But then in the long run, my dad sat me down and told me, hey, look here, your mom passed away because of AIDS. And I wouldn't want you to take up the same road, because I had begun to be so suicidal for a long time. I really tried to commit suicide, not accepting who I am and everything. And I realized that there is no life Yeah, there is no life if you're living with HIV. But then my dad had to sit me down. My friends really supported me, my close friend Bobby. So all that, I realized that, oh, there is a purpose. Because at the age of 14, and you just realize you're living with HIV, and you've grown up not even knowing you're with it, you know? So to me, really, it's a blessing in disguise. And I decided, like, the best thing I would do back is to take back to the world. Yeah.
Over and above your dad supporting you, because I can imagine at 14 years old, just realizing that you have HIV. Who else played a major role in just supporting you? You're now 22 years and you ooze so much confidence and you have this great purpose in your life. You're still in school, but you have so much energy and you are not ashamed of proclaiming to the world that you are living with HIV and AIDS. So along the journey, over and above your dad just being in support of you, who else has played a major role in that particular journey?
So to me, I have two families. They really love me. One, I have the AIDS support organization, TASO. That is where I get my medicine from, and I also have Uganda Network of Young People Living with HIV. So at TASO, I met one man who's really inspired me a lot, Dr. Mika Kulvia. He works with USAID now. He's my mentor and he's my personal doctor. He's been there for me, empowering me, everything. And to me, I look at him like a father. Because if it wasn't for him, I doubt whether I would be the woman I am today.
Right.
And looking back at Uganda Network of Young People Living with HIV, I met a couple of very many people. I met Jacqueline Alessi, you know, looking at her, how empowering she is and how she believed in me, how she really believed in me. And also very many people I did meet at UNYPA. So to me, I realized that these people are very supportive. They saw the potential in me and they believed in me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cynthia,
Yes.
you are the PRO,
Yes.
UNYPA. When did UNYPA start and why only the youth and not every other person that lives with HIV and AIDS?
Well, UNYPA has been in place since the year 2003, and we are here to coordinate the meaningful engagement of young people living with HIV to enable them to be great leaders, to enable them to be ambassadors back in their communities, to fight the stigma. And why we actually zero down to young people is we feel that everyone is all about the adults, all about the young children, and young people are going through certain changes, first and foremost as adolescents. Like you had, Nakata finds out she's diagnosed with HIV, so she gets into that denial mode. So young people, definitely, majority of them are finding out much about this, and the first thing they do is go into denial. They develop depression, suicidal tendencies.
Right.
So we come up as UNYPA to offer them some information, to advocate for their livelihood, for meaningful participation, to tell them this is not the end of life. Yes, so definitely as a network, we are here to sort of like strengthen, form alliances, form a movement of young people that know who they are, that know their rights, and that know that even if I have HIV, this is not the end of life. I can do greater, bigger things too.
Okay, so you actually established in 2003.
Yes.
So what programs do you engage the youth in just to ensure that you as UNYPA realize your goals and actually make an impact in society, especially to the youth, now that Uganda is, 77% of, the population is the youth?
So we have a couple of projects. We have 3 projects running. We have the Pitch project, which is a partnership to inspire, connect, and transform the HIV response.
What exactly happens in that project?
So what exactly happens in that project is it's basically focuses on adolescent girls and young women. So they are trained as first and foremost peer buddies, paralegals. So paralegals, they do the work that lawyers would do, but more on a community level. Yes. So we train them to know their rights. We train them to know who they are, to fully appreciate themselves, so that when they get to the community, they can find out cases of gender-based violence, cases of HIV discrimination and stigma. So they then pass on the information that we train them in. So they're sort of like foot soldiers in the community that we cannot physically be as UNYPA. Then we have the Get Up, Speak Up project. The Pitch project happens in central Kampala and northeastern Uganda. And then we have the Get Up, Speak Up project. That's the Guso project. It basically happens in the eastern region. So that is, we train peer buddies. Get Up, Speak Up. break the silence. It's basically just speak out about HIV, just speak out about sexual and gender-based violence. Then we have the SAHU project, so which is basically strengthening adolescent health in Uganda. Yes, and then we have campaigns. One of the campaigns is usually the summit. It happens in the beginning of the year, March, around March. We bring together stakeholders, young people, to sort of have an interaction. As young people, this is what we feel is missing. As stakeholders, this is what we feel young people are not doing. Right. So at the summit this year, we had the Honorable Miss Nachiwala Chiyinji, and wow, she was baffled at how well these projects are happening. She also committed to giving us 25 million to have young people living with HIV out there, and yes, being boosted. And then the most
the pageant.
Yes, one of the other.
We'll get to the pageant. Let's first hold it there. So you have foot soldiers in the different communities.
Yes.
When they go out to the communities and reach out to the youth in these communities and realize that, okay, we have X amount of people, X amount of youth that we have realized are actually HIV positive. Yes. What then? Do you support them with, access to drugs, access to, the social well-being, psychological well-being of their lives and stuff like that? How do you then, make sure that you support them throughout? What's your plan?
Well, as UNYPA, we do not treat, we advocate. We provide the information, and then we also work hand in hand with health centers across the country. So we have when we get a report from our ambassadors or foot soldiers back in a community that we've identified such a number of people or young people living with HIV, we then find out which one is their nearest health center, because they need to be able to access drugs without incurring as much costs or without them being inconvenienced. Yes, so that is how that is what we do to help them.
Okay, Nakata, you realizing that you're actually positive at 14 years, how has it been for you interacting with society? We know that still members of the public, even people who don't know are actually HIV positive, are part of this stigma that happens and actually occurs around people living with HIV and AIDS. So how has it been for you? How have you been able to fight this as Nakata, especially now that you're the beauty queen, Miss Y Plus 2016-2017? What has been your agenda and how have you been able to survive in such a harsh community?
Okay, so it's very unfortunate because most people try to forget that you realize that HIV does not kill, and it can never kill. What actually kills people living with HIV is the stigma and the discrimination, because with it makes you lose who you are. I've been there. I've tried to take my life very many times, not because I've wished to, but because of how the society perceives you. People tell you, you don't have a life. You are a walking corpse. Who is going to be your friend? And they talk all the negative things about you. At the end of the day, you lose out life, but it gets back to you. To me, it really got back to me. I had to sit down and realize, what do I want? Yes, I am living with HIV. It has no cure. I'm going to live with it for the rest of my life. What am I going to do? Am I going to remain a crybaby? So how can I make it an importance to inspire the world and, make good use of it? So really the stigma is there. And me, I decided to go public. Go bold and tell people, hey, look there. This is how HIV looks like. I am living with HIV. Deal with it. So you either have to deal with it. So it starts with you. What do you want to do? Are you going to hide yourself? Cry about it?
And by you being very vocal about your status, when you approach someone who is new, maybe someone who really doesn't know your status, someone who really doesn't know you, what's the first reaction the moment you open up about your reality?
So sometimes I meet quite a lot of people, and normally many of them come because they have their personal challenges and they feel they're really given up of life. It may not even be about the status, because I'm a motivational speaker. And I look at you and I tell you, hey, look here. You are living a happy life. And me, I live a life that is coupled with daily medicine. This is my life. Without the medication, I have no life. And on several occasions, I should say 100%, very many people do not believe. Others are like, hey, you're joking us. I have classmates who actually tell me, Martha, you can't be living with HIV. So very many disagree to it, because I try to bring out the beauty of living with the virus. What does it mean? Adhere to your medication, be healthy, look beautiful, inspire people.
Look beautiful.
Yes, that is the motto. Look beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah. So you realize that very many people I get very many people who actually open up, and they also need your support, tell you, oh, I've been in hiding. You realize that on my Facebook, my Twitter, all my emails, people start inboxing and they tell me, you know what, I've been hiding, I'm living with HIV. Like the current Miss Y+, the way we made it was very funny. She came to me and she was kind of very scared of opening up. But then as I speak right now, she's a Miss Y+. Right. You see that? So we want to bring out other young people out there, the boys and girls, beautiful as I am, to stand up and say, hey, this is me, I'm living with HIV, and I can contest for any beauty pageant. So welcome me for who I am.
Let me ask you, when you joined school, of course, as a freshman, a fresher, how was it for you when you decided that, fine, I'll be very vocal? What were the reactions, the first-hand reactions from your fellow young people? How was it like?
So the first reaction I got, someone got a picture from my Facebook, one of my best friends, and then she posted it onto the Facebook and the WhatsApp group of the university buff group. And many people are like, Miss Y+, what does it mean? So very many Googled, and they're like, hey, Nyabo, you're living with HIV. And some had to come to me, some of my colleagues had to come, and then they tell me, please tell us, is it the kind of work you do? I told them, yeah, I'm living with HIV. And they're like, no, you're joking us. You're joking us. Yeah. Because many of them were really surprised about it, and they were like, no, you can't be.
Okay.
But then it was about me standing up and then telling them, you know what, I'm living with HIV, this is me.
Cynthia, with the advocacy work that you do at UNYPA, how is the response from the youth, especially when you interact with them in the different communities? Are the youth now warming up to that need of them taking themselves to these health centers to just get checked and tested for HIV and AIDS?
Well, yes, I would say yes, and that is why we have the pageant. Initially, they were in hiding. They were really scared because we still have stigma. And even, it's very surprising that even among the people that you think are learned, we still have they're imposing the stigma out there in the open. Right. And sometimes we're just looking at it like, well, they have their opinion, they have the following, but then we tend to forget that there are a group of people that are actually being marginalized because of this stigma. Yeah, so are they warming up? Yes, because when they get to see a young, beautiful girl like Nakata, really very vocal, really telling them, you should take your status seriously, be bold, walk to a health center, test, definitely they would also want to know, because one thing that I'll tell you is it's very, what can I say, heart-rending to live in doubt, to live when you do not know. You sort of assume, oh my God, I think I have this, could I be having it?
Yeah.
So it's better to just walk into the health center and take the test.
Okay, so we have a beauty pageant coming up. This will be what year since it started?
Fifth edition.
Fifth edition.
Yes.
Okay, of the UNYPA beauty pageant.
Yeah, the Y+.
Why a beauty pageant?
Correction, it is not a beauty pageant.
Okay.
It is a pageant, a contest to become an ambassador.
All right. Not a beauty pageant, but a pageant.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
It's the Y+ pageant, and Y+ is Young Positives pageant. So we just decided to take a twist and have an exclusive pageant just geared up to having these young people that are living with HIV come and do this contest. Yes. And then it's not just, we're not looking at, are you beautiful, are you tall, do you have a great body? No, we are looking at how much impact are you able to take back to the community after being part of the pageant. So yes, this year I should let everyone know that the pageant is on and we are totally excited. We have exciting activities. We've drawn a roadmap, and Yes.
Actually, it's going to be like
gonna
jam-packed.
be
So there's a
massive.
roadmap. So what's the first step? Do people audition? What exactly happens?
Well, the first step is an Unleash event. We're going to have an Unleash event where a roadmap will be revealed.
Okay.
And that will be the 14th of September. So unless we get to the 14th of September, I won't reveal any dates.
All right.
But then from the Unleash, we then go into the regions. We go to Eastern region, Western region, Central, and then the Northern region. And then we sort of like hold auditions at health centers. Yes. So beside the auditions, we also do community dialogues. We engage with these people. What are the challenges? What should we do better? What do you advise? Yes. And then we also do flash mobs, door-to-door mobilizations. And then from the regionals, we then get contestants. So we
Okay.
get four contestants
All
per
right.
region. And then from the regionals, we then go to the boot camp.
The boot camp.
Where everything is, it's where everything happens.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
it's an exciting, Nakata will maybe tell you about it. So in the boot camp, we then train them to be advocates, to be ambassadors, we train them life skills, hands-on skills, so that when they go back to the community, you are not allowed as an ambassador from UNYPA to be jobless. How?
Right, right.
You get,
Yeah.
as a young as a young person to be without employment, if you can actually start up something that you were trained while in the boot camp. Yes, so from the boot camp, then is when we have the grand finale.
Okay.
So at the grand finale, we have a jury that judge these young people. So, and then we come up with who is the miss and who is the mister. Yes.
Nakata, let me ask you a question before we come to a close. Time is not
Okay.
on our side. You winning the Miss Y Plus pageant 2016-2017, how has that changed your life?
So one thing beautiful about this pageant is that it revives the beauty in you. It makes you realize that living with HIV is of a purpose, and you have to use that purpose. So to me, it has really revived me in a way that I've become this proactive woman. Many people have really invited me on different forums to speak to young people. I've gone global. People just look for me, and you know, it's all about you getting to build. But really, what is more important that is me putting a smile on someone's face. And to me, that is just enough. It's one thing that makes me wake up every day, to just find a young person on Facebook or WhatsApp, you know, sending me a message saying, Martha, look here, I think I'm messed up. I need your help. And I try, sometimes I refer them. Because these are like campus students, high school, I
Right.
refer them.
Right.
I go to schools and I speak out to young people voluntarily. So to me, like, you find that very many are positive, and then they come back, they tell you their challenges. Some even open up to testing. So to me, bringing...
They open up to testing,
Yes.
and that brings me to the last question. What would you tell a young person watching us today? I'm sure there are campuses watching us, young people watching us. You went for testing at 14 years old. I'm sure the people watching us, and they're still afraid, even adults who have never gone for this testing. So just talk to them. Why should they go out and test for HIV?
So the advice I would give to our young people is, one, the fear of the unknown is the greatest fear. If you do not know your status, then I think you're just messing up your life. So the best advice I would give to that one young person out there is, one, go, get bold, test, know your status, know who you are, and stand in your zone. Are you negative? Take charge of your life, keep safe. And to someone who is out there and living with HIV, the power is, one, be who you are, adhere to your medication. There is power in treatment. And that power, the way you can see me, there is power in treatment.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, ladies, for coming in studios. We
very
truly wish you all the best in this upcoming pageant. And if you're a young person, remember there are auditions that are gonna, you know, roll out in the different, you know, areas of the country. So be sure to look out for that. They're coming to where you are. So that has been the discussion today. As Nakata puts it, it's important to know your status. The greatest fear is just living in a situation where you don't know where you lie, you don't know how your health is. So it's very important to just step out and test for HIV, not just for you as a young person, but even for adults. Very important. Even married couples, of course, experts tell us so. So that has been the discussion on Morning at 10 TV. Keep it here. Take Note is up next.